What a result at Rugby Park on Sunday. Celtic came back from 2 goals down to snatch a dramatic 97th minute winner, and the fallout has been absolutely wild. On top of that, there are big questions being asked about who will be managing this club next season. A Celtic loanee is being tipped for a World Cup spot, and the fans collective are sending a very clear message to the board. It's all here. But first, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel for more Celtic content. Celtic loanee Stephen Welsh is being tipped for a spot in Scotland's World Cup squad, and honestly, when you look at the form he's been in, it's hard to argue against it. Welsh was sent out on loan to Motherwell back in September under manager Jens Bertholascu, and he quickly became a regular starter. Results weren't instant, but the team's expansive, possession-based football caught a lot of attention. Then came a turbulent January transfer window. Celtic recalled Welsh to provide defensive cover, just in case they couldn't bring in enough reinforcements at centre-back. He made 2 appearances for the Hoops before heading back to Motherwell on loan for the rest of the season. The deal was done with minutes to spare before the window slammed shut. The impact was immediate. Motherwell hosted Rangers in a huge clash, and Welsh netted an 89th minute equaliser. You can probably imagine how Celtic fans felt about that one. Welsh has been a key part of Motherwell's push to 4th place in the table, where they currently sit 7 points behind Celtic. His Motherwell teammate Paul McGinn has been backing Welsh to make the Scotland World Cup squad. He said, "For me, he definitely does have the ability to play international football. And from what I've read, it looks like there's going to be a few extra places available for this World Cup. I think sometimes it's hard to get in because the manager has had his trusted players that he relies on, but he'll need to take a few extra, and I don't see why Stephen can't be one of them." Welsh's future at Celtic beyond this season may not be certain, but it's great to see him playing regularly and clearly enjoying his football again. Having worked under Brendan Rodgers, Ange Postecoglou and Martin O'Neill, he's got a wealth of experience to draw on as he pushes for that international call-up. Now for the main story as who will be managing Celtic next season. That's the big question, and now a former Scotland international has weighed in with his verdict. Boyhood Celtic fan Eddie Gray believes it could all come down to how this season ends and whether Celtic win the title. Martin O'Neill's record since coming back for his second interim spell has been nothing short of incredible. Just 1 loss in 18 games across all competitions. That defeat was away to FC Midtjylland back in November, and since then the man has been on fire. Gray, speaking on the No Tippy Tappy football podcast, gave his take on what might happen next. He said, "I think it all depends on how the season finishes and who wins the Scottish Premiership. Hearts have got a very strong squad and will certainly take some beating, but once the old firm get within touching distance, they're used to the expectation of winning. A few months ago, I thought it was a certainty that Hearts would win it. If Celtic win it, then O'Neill may be drawn to stay on for another year, so we'll see what happens between now and the end of the season." Now, O'Neill himself has shown no real desire to stay at the club beyond the summer. He's been clear from day one that this is an interim role, there to steady the ship and nothing more. And look, let's be honest, it would be a mistake to keep him long term. That's not a criticism of O'Neill at all. The man has done a remarkable job. But the club needs a proper long-term appointment. Sustainability has to be the priority. They cannot afford to get the next permanent choice wrong. The appointment of Wilfried Nancy was a disaster. His 33-day reign put a real dent in the title fight, though Celtic still sit 3 points behind leaders' Hearts with a game in hand. O'Neill has worked absolute wonders to galvanise this squad and get them back on track. He doesn't need to be the long-term answer to deserve recognition. As far as many supporters are concerned, he already deserves a statue outside Celtic Park, regardless of how the season ends. In other news, the Celtic Fans Collective have sent a pointed message to the board following Sunday's dramatic comeback win at Kilmarnock, using the moment to call once again for the Green Brigade bans to be lifted. Celtic left it as late as humanly possible at Rugby Park, coming from 2 goals down to claim a 3-2 victory thanks to an absolutely stunning 97th minute strike from Julian Araujo. It was a result that could prove pivotal in the title race, and one driven not just by what happened on the pitch, but by the relentless backing from the stands. Despite the Green Brigade's continued absence from Parkhead, the travelling support in Ayrshire was sensational. From first whistle to last, the noise never dropped, and the scenes at full time showed just how much belief there still is in this support when the team shows real fight and character. The players noticed it too. Celtic's comeback after going 2 down owed a huge amount to the energy and momentum generated from the stands. The connection between the squad and supporters was clear as celebrations erupted at the final whistle. It was a genuine showing of unity, and that's not a word that gets used much around this club right now. In that context, the Celtic Fans Collective released a statement urging the board to rethink their stance with the most important months of the season ahead. They said, Celtic fans were in fine voice throughout at Rugby Park, proving once again how inspirational a vocal support can be. With a monumental few months in store, it would be beyond negligent if the Celtic board continue with their suspension of the Green Brigade. End the bans. The Green Brigade have now been absent for months, with what was initially described as a 6-game suspension becoming completely open-ended. With League, Cup, and European fixtures still to come, many supporters believe having the North Curve back at full strength could be absolutely crucial. Sunday's comeback at Kilmarnock felt like a reminder of what unity can do. For the Fans Collective, the message to the board is simple. The team are fighting, the supporters are responding, and now it's time for the club to do the same. In other news, Neil McCann was not a happy man after Sunday's game at Rugby Park, and now a surprising pundit has come out and completely shut down his complaints. Here's what happened. The game was level at 2-2, Celtic were pushing hard for a winner, and the officials confirmed there would be 7 minutes of added time. McCann was furious. After the match, the Kilmarnock manager said he had no idea where the officials had found all that added time from. Apparently, he forgot about the substitutions, the goals, the injuries, and, oh yeah, the time wasting from his own side. Chris Boyd then piled on during Sky Sports coverage after the match, joking that the fourth official held up a board that said, "Play until Celtic score." Lawrence Shankland and Steve Clark had a good laugh at that one, but here's where it gets interesting. A surprise pundit has stepped up to defend Celtic. Ewan Cameron, speaking on the new STV radio football show, is a Hearts fan, and even he was having none of McCann's complaints. He said, "I watched the entire game and I guessed before the board went up that it would be between 6 and 7 minutes. I don't think that Neil McCann has got a leg to stand on there. There were so many stoppages and injuries as well. In fact, I wouldn't have been surprised if it had been a little bit longer than the 7 minutes. Neil McCann has got no grounds to moan and complain." And there you have it. When even a Hearts fan is defending Celtic, you know the conspiracy theories just don't hold up. Anyone who actually watched the game knows exactly how that added time came about, but some people will always prefer a false narrative over the truth. Lastly, Thomas Kvankara has wasted absolutely no time making his intentions clear at Celtic, and what he said will go down very well with the supporters. The striker arrived on loan from Borussia Mönchengladbach, and his goal is simple: perform so well that Celtic have absolutely no choice but to trigger that €8 million purchase option in the summer. At 25 years old, he is not here to make up the numbers, and he's already shown that. He brings presence, aggression, and the willingness to hold up play and occupy defenders in a way Celtic have genuinely lacked at times this season, and his latest contribution proved exactly that. Against Kilmarnock on Sunday, his clever movement into the box caused absolute panic in the Kilmarnock defence. Julian Araujo did the rest, hammering home to seal the dramatic win, but Kavankara's role in that goal was crucial. The scenes that followed have been all over social media since. That's all the latest Celtic news for today. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and drop a comment below with your thoughts. I'll see you in the next one. Hail, hail.